I gotta be honest, the recent wave of Poor Things discourse is super discouraging to see. And like, I've been increasingly feeling for a while now, like, less motivated to talk about films or stories that are thematically complex on here for a while now because of how quickly the conversation devolves into this black and white morality thunderdome of like problematic and not problematic. And I know we throw around the term media literacy a lot on this app. I know it's become like a de facto insult. You know, oh, you didn't like Poor Things, you have no media literacy. The thing is, obviously, there are people who are going to watch Poor Things, understand what it's trying to do, and it's not going to work for them. Like, there are going to be methods of storytelling that are not effective for some people. I personally don't really ever enjoy the rape revenge genre, but it's still something that I can engage critically with and understand that perspective and tone and the way the film or the book or whatever media engages with the themes matters, you know? And so I think it's one thing to say, this triggered me, I can't engage with it, versus this is inherently gross and problematic. I think it stems from like a foundational unwillingness that a lot of people have to critically or meaningfully engage with any art that makes them feel uncomfortable. And that, I think, is objectively really fucking bad for art and for our society. There is a very strong argument to be made that the most important and meaningful art that exists is art that makes us uncomfortable. Like, it's all well and good to go see a movie that leaves you with warm, fuzzy feelings. That's a wonderful experience to have. But if we want to make art that is going to be able to move the needle of public perception, that's going to be able to challenge our politics and our worldviews and genuinely have a meaningful impact, especially, you know, when it comes to living under patriarchy or any other form of marginalization, it's going to come from a place of discomfort. Like that's just a fact. And it just feels like internet culture is so permeated right now by like puritanical anti-sex ideology and anti-intellectualism and this like morality competition, this like moral posturing of who's going to be the most moral. I watched this movie through my most pure moral lens, and I can tell you that it is bad because it depicts bad things, and I know that they're bad. Like, that's just such a surface level way to engage with art that I just don't think is ever going to be productive, especially when we're talking about art that is very intentionally non-literal, that is surrealist, absurdist sci-fi. Like, this is not meant to have one-to-one comparisons with the real world, and that's for very intentional, conscientious reasons. Like, the character of Bella Baxter, yes, is meant to portray the way that young women are hypersexualized from a very young age, but it's also meant to talk about how adult women are infantilized. Bella is depicted as being in control of her own sexuality. She is also simultaneously being exploited and marginalized by every man in her life. That reflects the complex realities and a lot of times conflicting emotions and feelings that go along with being a woman living under patriarchy. And again, the execution might not work for you, but this is a lot of times why storytellers reach into places like sci-fi and fantasy to recontextualize harsh and brutal and uncomfortable realities from our world for a narrative purpose. It's just, when we talk about a lack of media literacy, I think it's important to remember that it's not disagreements. It's not, you didn't think it worked and I did. It's that people are unwilling to talk about the efficacy or like the execution or the perspective or any of the technical elements of the storytelling. It's just, this depicted something that I think is gross and I'm not okay with that. And that is the problem. Because telling stories about bad experiences and bad things and bad people is important. And the way we do it is important. And telling stories that depict the complex emotions that a lot of times we feel around bad things that happen to us. Furthermore, like, the way we talk about women in their involvement in telling these stories and the characters in these stories, I feel like it's often very infantilizing and very diminishing and takes away their agency. When we talk about, oh, well, Poor Things is so clearly written and directed by a man, it completely strips away the fact that Emma Stone was an executive producer, pushed for, championed, and carefully crafted this character with Yorgos. And it's super important to her. Like, we complain about the simplicity and the reductive nature of a strong female character stereotype, but when we're presented with nuance, a lot of times this is the response, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. So I don't know.